Speaker number 1, Mike Staropoli. How to shoot your boss and get away with it? How to shoot your boss and get away with it, Mike Staropoli.
The year was 1985, and it was going to be a Radio Shack for Christmas. The location, Monroeville Mall. Their top salesman? Why, a young, good-looking single guy. I was excited about the season because we had some great electronic handheld games, some really unique-looking remote control cars. But the item I liked best was a 9AA, fully automatic, high-powered machine gun Scorpion. This baby was a beauty. You talk about power, I was knocking 3-year-olds off their feet up to 50 yards away. Dad, you're going to love this item. And so I kept one completely loaded behind the counter at all times. Only this season was going to be a little bit different. For assisting me on the sales floor was a young, good-looking, single female, which was really weird because at Radio Shack we only had one sacred rule. We forbid women to work there. Well, not necessarily forbid, it's just that no women ever applied. But there she was. She was cute too. I was thinking about showing her the Scorpion. And I did. I whipped it out and I fired it at the security window that was my boss's office/storage area. Just to get his attention because, you know, it's closing time. And it worked. The door opened up and there he stood, my arch enemy, Bulldog Paul. Why, he was nearly 6 feet tall and 6 feet wide. He had a permanent grimace on his face. It was the same, I know it was permanent because it was the same look that he had on his wedding pictures. Strongly, he says to me, stop being a fool and put down that squirt gun, bring down that gate, and grab the money. I want to go home. Aye, aye, Captain, I said. I showed my future girlfriend how complicated it was to bring down the gate. You just push the button like this. I grabbed the money, stuck in a super secret, high security Ziploc bag, and proceeded into his office to finish the report. After about 10 minutes, I noticed Bulldog hadn't been yelling at me. I got up from the chair and started to go to the door when suddenly my spider senses went off. The door swung open, and there stood Bulldog Paul with one of the best-looking grimaces I've ever seen. And he's holding my 9AA, fully automatic, high-powered machine gun Scorpion. He levels it at me, he says, time to die, dog. And he begins to squeeze the trigger. Using my cat-like reflexes, I dodge the globs of water as they come at me. I proceed to head to the back of the storage area. If only I could get back out to the sales floor. If only I could use the doorway to back up to that sales floor. As I approached the door, on the left was an electrical panel. From that electrical panel was a red protruding handle. Using my Navy SEAL training, I instinctively grabbed the handle and plunged the whole store into darkness. I leaped through the doorway and landed into the parts section. Bulldog Paul was right behind me. The darkness will not save you, he says, as he fired the machine gun wildly into the darkness. I sat there, crouched in the darkness. I knew I was going to have to engage my arch enemy in hand-to-hand combat. I began to look around in the darkness. What's this? Why, canned air. How is Mike going to defeat his arch enemy with a mere can of air, you ask? That's a good question. But you see, I have a MacGyver mind. When you turn it upside down, it turns into instant freezing gas. A plan started to develop in my mind. I'll leap out of the darkness, I'll hit in the ankles, I'll grab the guilt jump, I'll grab the machine gun and level the playing field. This plan will work. I mean, possibly go wrong. Using my bat-like hearing, I sat in the darkness, waiting as he got closer. He was quite easy to detect, though. Years of eating chili dogs and lack of exercise made him quite the heavy breather. He's upon me now, yes, he's upon me now. I leap from the darkness and all of a sudden I hear this, my face! The future Mrs. Strawley grabs the red handle and pulls it up, and all the lights in the store begin to come on. And there, lying on the floor, was Bulldog Paul. His eyes clutched shut, red lines around his face, tears coming off of him. You see, I wasn't the only one apparently who had Navy SEAL training. He didn't come into the room like this, like I thought. He did the military crawl. Yes, folks. I just shot my boss in the face with instant freezing gas. We helped him up into a chair. He mumbled to me, "I gotta get my contact lenses out." The future mother of my children ran into the bathroom, grabbed 2 wet paper towels and put on his eyes. I couldn't believe what I had done. This was completely inconceivable. There was only one concerning thought that was going through my mind. You think this chick would like Italian or Chinese? She didn't want to have any of it. She gave a miserable look at us and she said, "You're both immature idiots," grabbed her purse and stormed out of the store. Paul's vision began to return. Although foggy, he felt that he could drive home. The next day was Sunday. I come strolling into the store, and now behind the counter, with still the same miserable look she had whenever she left the night before, was the future ex, Mrs. Stroh. "How's Bulldog?" I asked. She said, "Well, he made it to work, but I wouldn't talk to him. I certainly wouldn't get near him." And then she gave me one of these. And I looked over in the video section, and there he stood, Bulldog Paul waiting on us. His face still red from the night before. But don't worry, folks. Apparently, he had a great disguise on. After I apparently vaporized his contact lenses, he reached for his high school glasses. You know the ones. The black frames with the little white tape around the stem, a little white across the bridge of the nose, and 2 Coke bottle bottoms. His eyes were floating around, looked like the poor guy was suffering from water. Using an ancient Radio Shack mind trick, he sent me a message as he looked at me. And it said, "I'll get you next time, Strawberry." My burglary is back. And using the same ancient Radio Shack mind trick, I sent him a message back. I said, "Bring it on, little dog. Bring it on." That's how you shoot your boss and get away.
Dunlop, a new sport. A new sport, Nate Dunlop.
Hey, son, speak! Have you ever wondered what Toastmasters would be like as a sport? Well, when you're suiting up, putting your jersey on, you'll need your Toastmaster number. How long is yours? It helps if you're a veteran Toastmaster. Please welcome number 7, Charlie Wilson. Official Yanahan, fellow athletes and fans, welcome to TLI. Toastmasters League of Intercommunication. I'm your announcer master, Bud Oliver, and today's event's brought to you by Mike's Murder Services. Earlier today, we have some exciting footage taken in the parking lot. Let's see it now. Yeah! Going to Toastmasters tonight. I've been tailgating all day. Doing tabletop's. Calling my bookie. Did you know at 63-1, a speaker isn't going to use an But I have been drinking a lot. Oh, that's good Chardonnay. Fill me up, Mr. Winemaster. Ooh, folks. You're not going to find any fans like that elsewhere besides Toastmasters. And hear them come alive here tonight. Here we go, speakers, here we go. Swinging their Toastmaster gavels. The sergeant at security's chasing a streaker across the road. Is that the district governor? Anyway, before we go live, we have a special interview with the Pittsburgh Positive Evaluator, Scout. Are you there? Could you comment on Tim, the real Jester Johnson? We heard he was kicked off the agenda for not bringing his manual. Not true at all, not true. See, what happened while warming up, Tim hyperextended his gesturing arm. Medic's master said he'll be fine, but he did overcome that ATL injury, anterior tongue ligament. Coach, what's the speech plan for tonight? Well, my speakers are loosened up. And we've got a wide range of gestures, but we've got to be tough. The opposition, they've got a really good offense with their vocal variety. We'll be fine if we just watch our pauses and filler words. Okay, Coach, good luck tonight. And I'm being told we have an update. One of the speakers was caught speeding at 193 words per minute. They got a speeding ticket. Then they used foul language. Frankie the Fumbler Davis, he was fined by the grammarian for speaking off manual. Of course, he was already serving a 3-game suspension for giving a non-manual speech. If you follow that behavior, you're going to become DTM, disgraced Toastmaster. Now let's have the cheerleader squad come out on stage tonight. But as you know, Toastmasters rotate their roles. So tonight's head scantily clad cheermaster, Michael Dalton.
But we didn't need to see that kind of imagery.
Well, folks, speech time is here, so let's take you down to the stage where the penalty master is reviewing with things with the team.
Okay, speech time starts and stops at the sound of a gavel. Each team will be given 3 recesses. Stepping outside the speaking area, outside, immediate ejection. There will be none of the following. Holding of the lectern. Illegal substitutions, reading speech notes,
Or congratulatory slaps. Scoring will be measured by manual objectives, and at speech conclusion, speech down! Based upon audience applause. Now, going into the speech itself, there were penalties in your start, the speech itself, and the conclusion. Not addressing the official chair, illegal motion. Double clutch, Mr. Toastmaster, Mr. Toast. False start! While giving a speech, intentional grounding. Failure to make eye contact with the audience. Also, illegal formations, excessive pacing. Interrupting audience laughter, laugh interference. For a speech conclusion, there will be no excessive celebration. Spiking the lectern. Roughing the speaker. Overly critical evaluation. Finally, failure to return floor to the official's hand. Illegal motion.
We now have 1 minute for the judges to mark their ballots. Paul Matthews. Leap. Leap. Paul Matthews.
Have you ever felt so close, yet so far away? Imagine you're standing in front of two shiny steel elevators in your college dorm. Ding! They both show up at the same time. Walk into the one on the left, push the button, and turn around as the people from the other elevator pass by in front of you. Then it happens. Time slows to a crawl. And like staring into the sun, your eyes are instantly ingrained with the image of the most incredible woman you have ever seen. But the door is shut, and you are left with just one thought. Who was that? This happened to me when I was only 19 years old. And the moment I saw her, I knew I'd never forget her. Black hair, big steel earrings, and a My Little Pony tattooed on her neck. She is gorgeous. Just the right amount of weird. A few days later, I see her walking down the hall. Hello? She didn't even glance. Hey, hi, hello, hi. What's your name? And she says, Vanessa. My friends call me Ness. Hi, Ness. I'm Paul. I live right down the hall. And she looks at me as if to say, can I leave now? Well, it's great to meet you, Ness. I hope I see you around. And see her around, I do. Because I discovered she likes to go to the gym. So I make it my favorite place to visit. Oh, hey, Ness. What a coincidence seeing you here. Me? Oh, yeah, I'm here all the time. 99. And over the course of the semester, we become pretty good friends. And I learned some key things about her. She's lost 75 pounds. And she's studying to become a chemical engineer. And most importantly, she is single. I gotta admit, I am smitten with this girl. But she's way out of my league. And honestly, not too into me. Have you ever felt so close, yet so far away? If you'd have been playing beer pong in my parents' basement during Thanksgiving break, you'd have heard my best friend Dan give me some advice that changed my whole life. See, I was telling him, dude, this girl, I am crazy about her, but she just sees me as a friend. Boom! Drink up. Dan, he takes a swig of cold Coors Light, brushes aside his long Jesus hair, and says, Bro, tell her how you feel before it's too late. Take a leap of faith, man. And he's right. So, I had a few beers. I psyched myself up, and I decided, this is it. I'm going to tell her. And I know I got to get this just right. And there's only one way to effectively express exactly what I want to say. Text message. We should get drunk and make out sometime. Dan reads over my shoulder and says, "Man, that's poetry." Right. Yeah. What have I done? I'll read the message again. Oh man, that sounds pretty stupid. My heart is pounding. My hands are sweating, and I am freaking out, waiting to hear what she says back. A year later, the phone finally buzzes. That would be weird. Weird. Play cool. Why? Knife. That. Ugly. Scent. A lifetime goes by until. I don't know. Maybe. Yes! Maybe! Well, that's all I needed. Because the week after Thanksgiving break, we get drunk. And well, that maybe becomes yes. Eventually, we start dating, fall in love, and even learn to share a bathroom without killing each other. She's the love of my life. But who knows what would have been if not for a stupid text message. Now, you may not be chasing a pretty girl from down the hall. You're chasing something, and at times it may feel so close, yet not as far as you think. It's in those moments that you need to take a leap of faith. Who knows? You might just get a maybe.
Timers, please give 1 minute of silence for the judges to fill out the ballots. Contestant number 4, Don Michael, F.O.M. F.O.M. Don Michael.
Come with me on a journey to a place that would make a vegetarian shiver. I'm not talking about the all-you-can-eat buffet at Golden Corral, or even a trip to the local butcher. I'm talking about a Michael family gathering, or as we affectionately call it, the Festival of Meat. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and closet meatitarians. I know you're out there. You're the ones that wished you stuffed some breakfast sausage in your pocket to have at lunch. It's been said that you can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your friend's nose. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. Wrong pun. You can pick your friends, but your family is picked for you. As a result, you need to find ways to have fun and get along, and thus the origin of the festival. Now, a number of years ago, my younger sister made the decision that she no longer wanted to eat red meat. Dad obliged and added chicken to our standard picnic fare of hamburgers and hot dogs. Now, Dad prefers natural casing hot dogs to regular ones, so he decided to do something for himself. Now, what goes better with hot dogs than homemade chili sauce? Add another meat to the tally. My brother and I both married lovely Polish ladies, so it was inevitable that Kobasi would join the menu. Now, Mom was not about to let her Italian heritage be ignored, so meatballs, sausage, and Italian beef would also make an appearance. Each gathering became an attempt to one-up the previous. A quest to get that meat count into double digits. Is anybody hungry yet? No, I'm sure you're all wondering, how do you keep track of all this? It's actually quite easy. Like any good Toastmaster speech has 3 main points, the festival has 3 categories of meats: snack meats, appetizer meats, and main course meats. And we're going to talk about each of those today. Do you have that one person in your family that's notoriously late all the time? It's not you, is it? In our family, it's my younger sister, Joanne. In her defense, when she does arrive, she is right off the cover of a magazine. Just like her big brother. But obviously it takes her much longer to get ready. Now, Joanne's habitual tardiness makes snack meats an absolute necessity. Snack meats include crispy, thick-cut slab bacon. You thought it was just for breakfast? No way. Great snack. Dad's homemade beef jerky. Pepperoni, salami, mix in some cheese, crackers, chips, and pretzels. You can wait out any bad hair day or wardrobe dilemma. Now, my wife Beth and I have twin sons, Samuel and Joseph. My brother and his wife, they have 2 boys as well. Not twins, but they're still pretty cool. As those of you who are parents can appreciate, the kids don't care when the meal is scheduled. When they're hungry, they gotta eat. And the solution is appetizer meats. Appetizer meats include hamburgers and hot dogs. Now, tragically, this former picnic staple has been relegated to a supporting role as the festival evolved. Other appetizer meats include kielbasa, pulled pork, Italian beef. Essentially, if you can eat it without utensils or while standing up, it makes the grade as an appetizer. Now, moving on to the piece de resistance, the main course meats. This is where you go big or go home. A 28-pound Thanksgiving turkey. A 19-pound Easter or Christmas ham. My older sister Donna's favorite, sizzling steaks on the grill. Because doctors prefer a more refined. And obviously, chicken. Now, the meats will vary depending on the season. We'll occasionally mix in a meat-containing pasta dish, like a heaping bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, or a piping hot tray of baked lasagna. We are half Italian. The better half, as Mom will tell you. Now there's nothing to do but loosen up a notch or 2 on the belt, settle in for some good story and joke telling, while your body attempts to digest the 4,000 calories you just consumed. Dessert, anyone? How about a drink? Well, that's material for another speech. Maybe next year. After many years and many meals, I've settled in on 2 universal truths. First, everything's better with meat. Nachos and cheese? Okay. Add some chili and some grilled chicken? Better. Thick, juicy hamburger? It's all right. Add a couple slices of bacon? Much better. Secondly, everything's better with family. As our families have grown, we have kids of our own. We don't get together as often as we used to. So when we do, we make sure it's full of memories. If you're looking for a good time with a great group of people, come on out and meet the Michael family. Tom's not included.
of silence as the judges mark their ballots. Of Aikenhead. The Legend of Aikenhead, Brian Wachtel.
Sometimes, favorite memories are made of life's crazy and unplanned moments. Contest chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. Traditions! First communions, proms, family vacations, the annual turkey bowl, sharing presents during the holidays. Traditions are powerful for drawing together family, friends, and sometimes strangers. How many here have traditions you remember from your childhood? Most likely, you share them with your family today. Some would make great tabletop moments. Indulge me while I weave a memory together of my life's favorite traditions. The earliest I remember is my dad setting up a line train under the tree. I'm sitting on the living room floor, admiring the tree we just decorated, waiting for my dad to connect the last section of track. My hands are sweating as I squeeze that bottle of smoke tablets, and I anticipate the hours I'm going to pour them into the engine. He plugs in the transformer, and the fun begins. And it almost ends as I hold on that annoying whistle. Some of you know the one, until my dad, who is our Little League umpire, yells the hi-hat. Son, one more time, you're out of here! There was sled riding up and down Mellon Avenue. One of the last streets the cinder truck would plow. I smell the fire. I throw on my winter clothes and I run outside and take some horse up the hill. With side streets barricaded and Mr. Dunlop's burn barrel blazing, we would ride all day and night on our sleds and truck tire inner tubes, praying and hoping we didn't hit any tree on the way down and would stop before we made the main intersection. We would not quit until we were so exhausted or injured that we couldn't make it up to the top of the hill. Legends also are born of seemingly insignificant, but sometimes extraordinary circumstances. A funny thing happened on the way home from the tree farm. It's the day after Thanksgiving, and we all get into the family car for our yearly tradition of traipsing across the Ohio state line to Aikenhead Tree Farm to cut down the perfect tree we tagged weeks before. I pulled the car onto the grassy field of the family farm we've been visiting for years. We all set out, make our way through the stands of firs, looking for that tag that has our name on it. And we're all drawn to a voice. Here it is, I found it. We gather around when only weeks before was the catalyst of intense discussion, strategies, and debate. What transpires every year isn't a scene from a Christmas story finagling the price of a tree, but the display of personality and passion to be the one to claim the cherished trophy. My daughter Erica, she's the wanderer. She goes off meandering through the trees looking for the prize. Our son Jared, typical male. Let's just say, if there was a tree farm with a drive-through, he'd be the first one at the order screen. I'm the yin yang. It seems I always want the opposite of what everyone else wants. My wife Chris, she was best described one year by a complete stranger. We were in the middle of an intense debate over a tree that only she wanted and wouldn't concede a single needle. When a woman observing steps up and looks Chris straight in the eye and says, "We have an aunt like you, we call her the tree Nazi." In her defense, my wife does have an eye for the perfect tree. We stood there admiring a Norwegian pine, which had the most amazing ornamental pine cones nestled within the branches and pruned to perfection. The only grandson, Eric, who always waited our arrival, made quick work to get the tree to the car. Here's where the legend begins. What I'm about to share with you has been told by others through the years. Not wanting to scratch the paint, I put a sheet on top of the car, and I securely tied down the tree. Not wanting the sheet to flap in the wind, I attach it to the tree trunk. Away we go, off for hot chocolate, the fun ride home, singing Christmas songs and listening to Jared recite verbatim every line of a Christmas story, bringing us to tears as we laugh, not giving one thought to velocity, lift, tensile strength, and our prized possession on the road. As soon as the speedometer hit 50, whack! The tree goes flying, and in my rearview mirror, what to my astonishing eyes does appear? A Norwegian pine skidding down the road, our hearts filling with fear. And imagine the memories our kids had conceived as they watched me pick up every pine cone on my knees that I could find, while the sheet, still attached to the tree, floated perfectly down and covered a now partially limbless tree, with cars lining up behind us as far as they could see. They had to be thinking, what could this be? It was not a dead body, just a legendary tree. I could feel our kids' bulging eyes as they watched through the window. Imagine a caricature of Jim Carrey, Roger Rabbit, and Twitchy from Hoodwink, all on coffee. I began to have a vision of a Griswold Christmas vacation. Things were not going to turn out well. A good Samaritan in the first car did step out, shaking his head and say, I might be going out on a limb here, but it looks like you could use some help. Just then, a police car come to a stop right beside me. The Grinch had arrived, and he wasn't on my side. Had I been in Toastmasters, visions of not so nice words of the day would have been dancing in my head when he lowered the window and said, if you don't want ticketed for littering, pack up the tree and get moving. The tree survived, and with its missing limbs, fit perfectly in a dining room corner. And it remained there until I decided to give my dad's train tradition one more try. We completed decorating the tree. I'm underneath, connecting the last section of the track. I lift my shoulder to stretch, and our beautifully decorated tree comes crashing down onto the hardwood dining room floor. To our amazement, not a single ornament broke. A nail, some twine, the tree secured. I connect the track, and we enjoy the rest of the year. Now, every time we see Eric at Aikenhead Tree Farm, he says, I just told someone a tree story. We're a legend in their own time. I suggest you cherish those crazy, unplanned, seemingly insignificant, but sometimes extraordinary moments. Who knows? They may be a legend in the making.
Our sixth contestant, George Hayward. The existential concern of a teenager. Am I cool yet? The existential concern of a teenager. Am I cool yet? George Hayward.
Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, guests, family, friends, Steve, all the way back. When I was an adolescent, I had my own perspective on how to live my life, and any advice from my parents was questionable, at best. Some of you may have wondered about your own advice to your kids. It's probably questionable. You can be the greatest parent in the world. All I'm saying is kids don't always see that. Am I right? Am I right? Not a lot of parents in the room today. All right. Looking back on those years, though, now, as an established 22-year-old, I see that I could have used my parents' advice. Specifically in the area of materialism, my values came to reflect those of my teenage peers, because what better place to get your values than your teenage peers? Not so much what mattered. This became a deep source of insecurity for me. Today I'd like to share with you a few of those examples and then conclude with how my perspective has changed. It all started at Springhouse Middle School. I was half as tall, twice as awkward, immeasurably less attractive. Thank you, ladies in particular, for acknowledging that. A lot has improved. I wanted to be cool. Now, the easiest way to be cool in middle school is to have the right kind of clothing. This shirt is actually from that era. It's from Abercrombie. I can barely believe it. There I was with my mom, shopping at stores that we couldn't afford without a second or third mortgage. These were the Range Rover of teenage clothing. And I was excited about it. I'd say, Mom, check out these polos. They're on sale. Buy one, get one for $50. No. Oh, how about this pair of pants over here? Look, on sale. $100. I think that's fair. My mom looked at me with all the love, compassion, and fury of a Greek warrior goddess, because she's actually from Greece originally. She said, "Son, they have holes in them, holes! I can't send you to school with holes in your pants. People will think I'm a terrible mother." Mom, don't think of them so much as holes. Think of them more like ventilation. It gets hot in school. Yes, I know it's January. But Mom, if I don't have these pants, I could be rejected by my peers. And that might lead to low self-esteem, low grades, Grand Theft Auto. What? I can have the pants? Thanks, Mom. The things I would do to be cool. But I'm probably the only one, you know? Speaking of pants, I was part of the generation responsible for the continued lowering of the acceptable height of pants. You're welcome. Don't worry, I have shorts on underneath. You hope. We face criticism. Outsiders would say, "Hey, what are your pants so low for?" That was a great question. Gravity. Well, my pants aren't hanging down. Well, Dad, clearly gravity's not as strong where you are, okay? We're on different parts of the earth. Will you just let me rebel, like all of my friends? It's not as easy as it looks. The next most important thing in my life became the quality of cars in our family. Because I needed rides to the mall and the movies. The cool kids were showing up in BMWs, not us. In fact, we didn't even have lemons for cars. We had lemon air freshener. The cars didn't run, but they smelled good, which was a distraction from the clanking noises. It got to the point, I was so embarrassed by my family's cars, I would have my parents drop me off near my destination. My dad would be driving, "All right, son, we'll let you know when we get there. A little further, right here. This is where Dave lives." This is a post office. Dave loves to check the mail. All right, I'll see you later. Lying to my own father. My last chance, though, to be cool, was to have a nice house. I lived in a wealthy school district. Some of my friends, they had maxed out amenities. We're talking swimming pools, basketball courts, bidets. Not us. Let me explain my house. I was playing ping pong once a few years ago with a friend, and I said, "I wish I had a ping pong table in my basement. I wish I had a basement." I lived in a mobile home. This was a deep source of insecurity for me because I had friends who had really cool things in their houses, like pianos and stairs. Not us. You had to like me for me when you came over. I didn't have a backup plan. It wasn't like, check out our mobile home and our Ferrari. It was, check out our mobile home. That's it. Yet I've learned from these teenage years, proving that it is possible. Mainly, not everything in life matters, and many things in life won't matter long. At the time, I didn't know that. But I had to look what my motivations were for what I wanted. It's not wrong to want nice things, but I was just covering up insecurity. But I'm probably the only one. It's not exclusive to teenagers. We all face pressure to perform and act for people. I think the only age group that gets it really right, though, are very young kids. You should have seen me when I was 3. I didn't care what anybody thought about me. I was me in the purest sense. What is important in your lives, fellow Toastmasters? Who are you becoming in response to your values, and where, most importantly, are you getting your values from? Think about it now, in advance, so that one day, unlike me, you all don't get caught with your pants.
my best friend, Marta, Dalton.
My best friend and I first met about 15 years ago. We were both a little awkward, struggling to communicate. But as time went on, we became more confident, gained new features, grew more intelligent. And these days, we're pretty much inseparable. In fact, my best friend is here in this room right now. Would you like to meet her? Yeah. Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and honored guests, I am proud to introduce you to my best friend, my cell phone. Oh, you laugh, but how many of you have your cell phones with you right now? Come on, raise those hands high, don't be shy. They're so common that Trevor had to remind us to turn them off before the contest. Yeah, that's right. Some of you forgot. I was watching. But honestly, can you remember a time you had to live without your cell phone? Somewhere at the edge of my memory is a vision of a world with phones on poles. And I had to seek them out, uphill, in the snow, both ways. And when you found them, you would feed them with tiny, shiny circles to open them up and reveal their magic. When I was a kid, if you wanted to ride home, you would call Mom collect. And when they asked for your name, you would say, really quickly, Mom, come pick us up. And then you would know that she heard you because she would decline the charges. Kids today, they would never understand this code. Why? Because in today's world, it's ubiquitous connectivity. We're always connected. Anytime I need to reach out and touch someone, whether it's as simple as a call to my mom, or answering the critical questions of everyday life on the go, such as, who was that guy in that movie with the dog and the clown? Come on, you know the movie! Or if I just need to prove my husband wrong. No, honey, we can't drive from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia in 30 minutes. Not without breaking the sound barrier. For any of these needs, I just pull out my cell phone. Our digital best friends have become an integral part of our lives. And you may not have even realized it. But consider this. Can you remember the abject horror of the last time you forgot your cell phone? Or, worse yet, that you lost it? I don't even want to think about it. It brings back bad memories. Well, about a month ago, I was forced to disconnect when I went on a cruise. That's because roaming data charges are heinous. But what it taught me is that in addition to ubiquitous connectivity, there are two more ways that our digital best friends are impacting our everyday lives. The phone zone and the wall factor. First, the phone zone. Your protection from awkward conversations everywhere. In today's world, you can be in a room full of people, just like this one, and not talk to any of them. How great is that? Simply bury yourself in your phone. That says to the world, hey world, I'm busy. I'm important. I'm digital. I bet you found yourself in the same room as your kids, your spouse, your friends. Nobody's talking to each other. Everybody's on their cell phones. But then again, that means that the kids are quiet and your husband's not bugging you, so I would call that a win-win. Or maybe you found yourself on the bus next to that one woman whose kids have always just done the cutest thing, and wouldn't you like to see a photo? Oh, phone zone. I'm sorry, ma'am, I just got a really important email from my boss, and I have to address it right now. Would love to see those photos in a minute, though. Hashtag creepy bus ride. The phone zone. Your defense against dangerous human interaction. And then there's the lol factor. Who here hasn't lolled? Or maybe even raffled You look like someone who's rolled on the floor laughing before. Ever since emoticons were invented in 1982, we've been smooshing words and kicking vowels to the curb to make typing faster and easier. And in the process, we've changed the way we use the English language. Texting is where apostrophes go to die. And do not get me started on homophones. There, with their friends. Does anybody get that right anymore? Just 2 years ago, OMG and LOL were added to the illustrious pages of the Oxford English Dictionary. And I bet it won't be long before you see Raffle, or its most advanced version, Rafflecopter, which is to laugh so hard you fly away, added to those pages soon. The other day, I was reading that there are more phones in the United States than people. Well, of course. I bet there are more phones in this room than people. And they're getting faster and smarter all the time. With ubiquitous connectivity, the phone zone, and the wall factor, they're changing our lives, and our digital best friends are becoming our real best friends. Won't be long before we have a conversation with them. Maybe they'll tell us stories or jokes. In fact, I wonder if someday, maybe, my phone would be able to do this speech better than me. What do you think, phone? How about you tell me a joke?
Why did the chicken cross the road?
I don't know, phone. Why did the chicken cross the road?
It was looking for better reception.
Well, maybe not.
Our 8th contestant, Mike Pechalk. Advanced Handyman Test. Advanced Handyman Test, Mike Pechalk.
Mr. Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. You can tell how advanced the Handyman is just by taking a look at the tools, his toolbox. Let's take a look at mine. Utility knife. Gauze. For the utility knife. Shot glass, so I can start medicating before the ambulance arrives. I'll leave that later. And for the big jobs, a rosary. Now my generation's pretty decent here. That's because we respect danger. And I think it started with our childhood games. Games like lawn darts. Remember those? For those who don't, the original lawn dart was a pointed 12-inch metal spike with fins. It could fly 20 yards through the air and bury itself 3 inches deep in hard-packed clay. What could possibly go wrong? Well, they took them off the market because they were unsafe, but I always thought it was a matter of following some simple safety rules. My buddy, One-Eyed Kenny, and I followed them religiously. Especially after his accident. Accidents and danger are part of the job for a handyman. Especially if he's supervised by someone like my wife. We've been married 32 years now, and I've come to the conclusion that her main mission in life is keeping me busy. She's constantly on the lookout for odd jobs and home repairs to fulfill that mission. Now, that being said, we were pulling into our driveway one day, and she sees this bird fly out of the corner peak of our roof. Now, to be honest, I'd seen the same thing happen a few days earlier, but I chose to ignore it. Well, she gets out of the car and she says, "Look, there's a loose board up there. We need to fix that right away." Well, as my fellow handymen know,
This is wife speaking. What she's actually saying is, you need to get up there and take whatever life-threatening measures you deem necessary and fix that. ASAP. Side view of my house, from this corner peak to the concrete driveway below, is a little over 30 feet. It's one of those spots on my property where a 30-foot fall guarantees horrible, painful injury, if not death. Wishing to advance in the handyman ranks, I borrowed a 40-foot ladder. Early Saturday morning, I started to climb. Well, I got about halfway up. The ladder started shaking like Beyonce playing my I'm thinking, this must be a defective ladder. Well, to make my morning even more interesting, I look over my shoulder, and I see my neighbor, Bill, from across the street, watching me with his smirk on his face. At the time, Bill was the king handyman of the neighborhood, and he carried that title with great self-importance. He thought I was incompetent. I thought he was a pompous jerk. Well, he yells over to me, looks like you're going to need some help over there. Trying to wipe a look of terror off my face, I responded, no, I'm good. But I was thinking, buddy, they'll be hosing my blood off this before I accept help from you. Well, I wasn't going to let this be, especially in front of Bill. So I went into the house, poured a cup of coffee, thought about it. All I needed was a tether. I drove down to the hardware store and bought this big coil of rope. You see, right below this corner peak, in a couple feet, is my front bedroom window. And 30 feet behind that is my back bedroom. And 30 feet below that's my deck. So I tied one end of the rope around a deck post, fed it from the back window, across the bedroom, out the front, climbed 7 feet up the ladder, pulled the rope taut, and made a harness underneath my arms and across my chest. That way, if the ladder should fall, I'm swinging gently. I then proceeded up, take my measurements. While I'm up there, I see Bill pointing at me, talking animatedly on his cell phone. Probably sharing this spectacle with one of his handyman buddies. I made my way back down, took off the harness, stepped off the ladder, walked into the garage to grab my materials. I got back on the ladder, put my harness back on. And I got about a little ways up and I thought, I should grab the rosary, just in case. So I came back down the ladder, stepped off without taking off my harness. I walked into the garage, grabbed my rosary, and as I'm heading out, I see Bill laughing at me, filming me with his smartphone. Thank God it never occurred to me, until everything was said and done, that I shouldn't be able to walk into the garage with my harness on. I tied the rope too long. I don't have a clue how that happened. I think it's all headed. Well, whatever. I did it. I fixed the loose board. I looked fear in the face and said, ha! I passed the advanced handyman test. Bill didn't agree. See, where I saw myself as being brave and resourceful, Bill saw me as the coyote in a Roadrunner cartoon. He moved away a few years back, and I kind of miss him from time to time. I wish we could have done a project together. I wish we could have played a game of lawn darts.
ask him a few deep and personal questions. Thank you for teaching us how to shoot our boss and get away with it. On here, you have noted that your notable accomplishments are surreal sales and management.
Sales.
Sales and management. Tell us a little bit about your experience with it.
Well, quite simply, I like to conquer and divide and conquer everybody else in the room. So when it comes to sales goals and management goals, I'm always shooting for the best. The windows up. Thank you. Thanks for making me first again.
Should have had you guys come a bit forward. What? I'll go down. On here, your favorite quote is, "It's better to die in battle than live in the shackles of shame." Tell us a little bit about that and why you like it.
Well, first off, a little bit on the origin of the quote. It comes from the C.B.D. DeMille movie, The Ten Commandments, starring Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston. It was stated by Pharaoh, played by Yul Brynner, when Moses is crossing the Dead Sea, and all of his generals say, "Pharaoh, it's too dangerous, turn back, you'll die." Looks at them. It would be better to die in battle against a god than live in the shackles of shame. It's a real testament to Pharaoh, but it speaks a lot about the human condition in separating the two different types of people and how they live their life. There are people that are going to go out onto the frontier, through the barbed wire, through the pain, through the bullets that are flying at them. But then there are others that stay in the trenches, maybe always claiming, too fearful to poke their head out. And that's where they stay and that's where they die. To me, it's more worthwhile saying, yeah, I'll leave those trenches. It could be dangerous. Might get hurt. Maybe I won't even be successful in getting to the other side. But you know what? In trying to get to the other side, you can say you did something. As opposed to, oh no, I'm not doing that, it's too dangerous. Well, guess what? You've already failed. You're not going to go anywhere. So for me, I'd rather go out there. It's worthwhile. And when you are looking back on your life, you can at least say, yeah, I went out there and I did something. I gave it my best shot, as opposed to never doing anything at all.
And Paul, to me, it would be a quite strange experience, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on having your wife being a Toastmaster as well.
Strange isn't the word I would use to describe it. Honestly, I owe her a world of gratitude for bringing me to Toastmasters in the first place. She was in Toastmasters for well over a year, encouraged me to join for many months until I finally visited a club and didn't quite get it at first, didn't know what Toastmasters was all about. But I got to see her compete in the International Speech Contest in 2012 and actually go all the way to districts. And by just tagging along, seeing the area contest, division, and actually going to the conference for the first time, I was opened up to the whole world of all of you beyond my club. So in a lot of ways, it's been fantastic to do it together. At this point, we critique each other's speeches, we coach each other. She gave a workshop earlier today. I'd heard it at least a dozen times. She's heard the speech I just gave at least 20 times. And I couldn't imagine doing it without her. I love it.
Next we have Don Michael. Don talked a little bit in his speech about having twin boys. I heard him talking a little bit about he and his wife coaching them in basketball. Tell us a little bit about that.
If you ever want to be in a place and experience a complete lack of control, it is being a coach for 6-year-old basketball. I give the organizer of the sports league a lot of credit because he had an ambitious goal. On the first day, after explaining only 2 of the rules of basketball, that the children would all be able to completely execute a game for 10 minutes, starting with the jump ball at the beginning. If you can picture it now, so that we get the teams facing in the right direction, one player from each side, and I said, "Do you understand what we're going to be doing here?" And I get a nod from both of them. I toss the ball up in the air, and it hits the ground. I said, "Okay, well, let's try this again. This time I'll toss it, and one of you hit it." I tossed it, and one of them grabbed it and ran with it towards the hoop. So at that point, I looked at the other coach and said, "This is a 6-week program. I'm going to root for a little bit slower improvement. Let's let the kids have some fun. If the ball ends up in the stands or the restroom, we'll stop play and reorganize. But otherwise, just let them go and let them have fun. Let them be kids."
Wachtel. Brian's giving me a look like, please, because I know him very well. I can dig up some good stuff. But I think I'll choose to be nice because one day I may be in his position. I enjoyed Brian's model speech about badminton. Tell us a little bit about that passion of yours.
Well, it's something that is low impact, but every year in September, we have all our friends over, we have the board, we have the brackets, we start about 1 p.m. and it goes till it's dark, and we play. Well, I'll play 18 games in one day. And it's just something that started out of a bunch of friends coming over for fun, and we turned it into our own little association. So when they needed a model speech, I figured, okay, a little Jerry Lewis, you know, and a lot of body movement, and I did that speech as it was for the evaluation contest, right? And I had a blast. Recently, I went to Dunlop's. They had a whole array of birdies that went out of sale, out of business. They were the best birdies in the world. You can hit them a mile. And when I went to Dick's, they didn't have them anymore. And I bought the ones they had, you couldn't get them to the net. So I went to Dunlop's and I walked out with $120 worth of birdies. Bought all of them. I was like, they have these, they have sportscraft. So I found another Dunlop's. It's at media age. I walked out with another $102 worth. And there's one more Dunlop's I'm still going to get. So my next speech might be on how my wife yelled at me for buying all the birdies.
George Hayward. Well, I found the interest in hobbies interesting. Brushing my teeth, very good. I'd like you to tell us a little bit. You earned the Caddy of the Year award at the Lehigh Country Club. I have friends that were caddies. I know there were some interesting stories. Do you have a good one you can share with us?
If this is recorded, I don't know. I really don't have too many outlandish stories. I'm, I guess what you could call like a straight-edged kind of guy. So I don't get paired with the golfers who are the really high stakes, volatile, hit the ball out of bounds, make you go, look for it kind of guys. Because the caddy master will pair certain caddies whose personalities match up well with certain players. So I don't really have any ridiculous stories, although I have been in some interesting situations. I may or may not have moved balls when that may or may not be frowned upon. Gotta keep pace moving for those golfers out there, right? Sometimes they're not really playing for anything. So as far as caddy's concerned, I think I've lost a lot of weight. It's a good exercise in the summer. But I'd say the thing that has just been the overarching story of all the years I've been doing it. Is just that you meet people who have been successful, and from what I've learned, for the most part, there's no presumption of superiority. A lot of them are just, they're successful, but they're kind, and they treat you with respect, and that was something that as a college student, I was really glad to see, because when you think of a country club as closed off, you might think these people who just don't want to have anything to do with you. But they're nice people, so if you're country clubbers, that's good.
Marta, Dalton. Under notable accomplishments and awards, you were an advisor for a startup acquired in December 2012. That sounds exciting. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. So I was put in touch with this startup because we went to the same business school. We both went to Tepper at CMU, and they were current students, and I was an alumna. So they got in touch with me because they wanted to create a platform that would do competitive pricing for e-commerce, and that's my career area. So I was an advisor to help them figure out what features they need to include in the platform, help them go through several iterations of it. I think I was probably the 4th or 5th person on the team with the 3 founders. And after 3.5 years, they were successfully acquired by Home Depot, so that was pretty exciting. Was very proud of them and all the work that we put into it. It was extremely validating. It was a fun ride to go through.
Now, I'm not sure if you'd want to combine all these interests and hobbies at one time, although it could be interesting with woodworking, making beer, and being a grandpa.
Actually, making beer comes first, then the woodworking, and then I babysit. I'll make this quick. I just got these boots like 2 days ago, and this is the first time I've worn them, and they're Gore-Tex. My feet are on fire. I think my shoe size went down 2 sizes. And I wanted to say, what a great group of funny people, and great writers too. Don't you agree?
Thank you very much, everyone. Now, you can be seated as we await we have the results here, so please be seated. For the District 13 2013 Humorous Speech Contest, 3rd place, Dawn Michael. In 2nd place, Nate Dunlop. In 1st place,